I want to believe in y'all. I want to, but every year y'all don't do anything. You know what I mean? You just think y'all gonna will out Jimmy Butler, Bam, and Tyler Hero and go to the finals. It's not about to happen.
Yo,
It's not about
spoilers.
to
Hey,
happen.
we got better. Is Miami the Pittsburgh Steelers in the NFL?
So we will start off with, of course, the Western Conference. These are essentially the standings of the teams after all was said and done. Shout out to OKC. They managed to scrape and scrounge up that win, but they fell short. So they, and of course, them and a few other people decided to make a few adjustments over in free agency. So I guess we'll start off in this Western Conference. I asked my cohorts, the biggest, surprise you saw in free agency when it came to the Western Conference, I guess to say, or like the team that made the most impact in free agency. We'll go with that. The one that just surprised you and made you the most. Hollywood, Walt Disney, representative of the Dallas Mavs. You're up first.
I mean, of course, you know what I mean? You get Klay Thompson. You know what I mean? We did lose Derrick Jones, but I do like the pick of a Najee Marshall. You know what I mean? Because he's kind of just like Derrick Jones, except that he can shoot better. So, we'll take that. And I mean, I like what we did. We got Klay Thompson, got a solidified third option right there, something that we definitely did not have last year. I mean, it was evident in the finals. Like if it wasn't Luka and Kyrie, you know what I mean. So
Whew.
of course, I gotta big up the Mavericks for doing that. I do like what the Pelicans did though. Getting DeJounte Murray. I mean, I feel like that was a sneaky move right there. I mean, I think that'll definitely help them offensively and defensively. I mean, so that was a good move for them. And if the rumors are true, if Russell Westbrook goes to the Nuggets like they saying, then you got to give props to the Nuggets too, because that's a valuable piece that could actually help them get back to the finals and win it. You get somebody else that can handle the ball. You could probably have Jamal Murray play the 2 and have Russ play the 1. You know what I mean? That would be,
So they
Oh,
got Sarek too. Shout out to Sarek.
I just completely disagree. To me, to this day, I do not understand what the allure for the Nuggets is in getting Russell Westbrook. I just don't understand it. To me, it's almost like the Chris Paul to the Warriors thing last year. It's like you're getting something that you don't need. They already have a playmaker. They have two because Murray technically is a point guard, but they have Joker. You don't need another playmaker on the team when the offense is essentially run through him. Westbrook can't shoot. Now, he's never been a consistent shooter in the entirety of his career. So he can't shoot. And so that's the confusing thing. Like he can't shoot. His defense, isn't super aggressive because especially some of his athleticism went down a little bit,
definitely.
especially because he's getting older. So to me, it's just like you bring somebody on. Now he of course most likely he's not going to start. One thing I'm not worried about. If you bring somebody on that doesn't stay score, can't shoot, and is good at a job that you don't need him to do. So like now if he comes on, comes off the bench, second unit, sure. Like, I'm not gonna be super mad at that, but just this amazing allure. We get Westbrook, we're going. I don't get that one. But they need to do something because I think losing KCP does hurt a little bit. You lose a starter, you lose some size, some shooting. A solid defender at least a little bit. So I mean Westbrook can somewhat make his own shot. It just depends if he can make the shot. Oh, we'll see. That's a little something. Zell, you are up.
Of course, shout out to my Spurs. They're not gonna really make noise, but they're gonna be a little threat. It ain't gonna be an easy win, you know what I mean? So shout out to them. They got Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes. Give Wimby somebody that actually pass him the ball rather than dribble around in a circle. So shout out to them. But I gotta go with a team who needed something. And did they make the steps to do what they needed to do? And the one team I thought did what they needed to do was Minnesota. We saw in the playoffs when they played Dallas. They didn't have enough. It was Ant. If Ant didn't score, they had problems. So what did they do? They got the best scorer in the draft. They got Isaiah, who was reportedly one of the best scorers in the draft before he had his case. And then they went and got Joe Ingles, a shooter. So now all the pressure that they had on Ant kind of been a little bit resolved. So they fixed the issue. and they somehow kept all their players, which intrigued me to how they kept Gobert and Towns, but and they added all that, but they added two was Ricky, so we know how they added them. But they fixed what they needed to do. They got what they needed. They were close. Now Ant don't have to feel pressure to score. They got another like a wing defender who can guard 2 and 3. They got a point guard that's very explosive to come off the bench, and he get to learn on Mike Conley. So I think Minnesota did a great job this offseason with the move they made. And Memphis probably had the biggest move, just getting Ja Morant back. That's all. That's what you need. Just get him back healthy. Just get him back healthy.
I think that's the one I'm looking forward to the most, because the Western Conference might have the biggest, splash surprise out of some of the other ones. We'll look at the East in a second. Just Memphis coming back. If Ja is able to come back, be healthy, be close to a superstar level, be better shooting. He looked fine during the 25 games he was in before he got hurt. I think just them and the Pelicans especially. The Pelicans, if I remember right, were like a top 2, top 3 team prior to Zion getting hurt. And then when they even got into the play-in, he had a 40-point game before he got hurt again at the end of that game, and they couldn't, finish the second play-in game. So it's just, to me, I think those two teams, having their youth, their, ability to move the ball, especially with the Pelicans being able to pull DeJounte Murray and still keeping Ingram, is I think is a really good move. Now they just have pieces to be able to move the ball around, to shoot, to be able to score. Now the defense will still be a little something to be looked at, but they can actually get around and do some things. So I'm actually very, very happy for those two. I really think that those two teams are just like the biggest ones to me. Now, we got.
What about Golden State? We ain't gonna talk about the.
Oh, I'm about to get to them, because now we got to go to the teams that probably disappointed you the most in the Western Conference, at least in free agency. The one that just you wanted them to do something big or make some changes, and it just didn't happen. And since I'm gonna hold off on the Warriors. I would definitely put the Warriors there. Just I would definitely put the Warriors there. I really would. But to me, and shout out to Brandon Duhart, it's the Lakers. I'm sorry. To me, the Lakers, their biggest splash move was drafting LeBron's son. That's literally their biggest splash move.
Can we quote Dr. Umar?
Oh, now we turn on Dalton Connect.
I'm sorry. I mean, yeah, Dalton has a good draft, but I'm not going to look at a draft pick, to be their biggest splash, to be the thing to get them over the hump. Now, the Nuggets taking a step down, I think is important, because that is the Lakers' biggest, kryptonite the last couple of years was the Nuggets. So them taking a step down, I think is important. When you have to consider what the Lakers can and can't do. But the current roster, as you saw, really just didn't get the job done. It wasn't AD and LeBron scoring at will. They didn't have a consistent third scorer. You want D'Angelo Russell to redeem himself, take a step back up. It really didn't happen as much as one would hope. The rest of the bench, if they was injured, they weren't there. If they weren't injured, they weren't consistently making shots, whether it was Rui, whether it was Austin Reeves, who seemed like he took a little bit of a step down compared to what he was last year. And it just didn't do anything. They were like, you know what, we're just straight. We just spent a whole pack. And I was like, that's not, with the Western Conference changing up a few things, I guess they might get a little higher in standings, but to me, it's just not, it ain't it. This just isn't it. To me, that's just not it. LeBron get another year under his belt, so he's not getting younger. You just hope LeBron don't take a step back offensively or anything. AD, he had a great year this year. Shout out to AD. You hoping that continues, because he does have a bit of an injury history. And so you depending on those two still without a third score or anything, it's just, I don't get it. To me, I think that's the biggest disappointment I had. If you want LeBron to go out in a blaze of glory, this ain't it. At me, Hollywood, what disappointed you about this free agency on the West?
Well, the Lakers, Warriors, Phoenix. Even though Phoenix, they ain't got no money, so they really can't do shit.
They just can't. They can't do nothing.
The Clippers got worse. You losing Russ. You let Paul George walk. You re-signed Harden, but let's be honest, he's washed. Kawhi is still, on load managed year 5. So but the Lakers definitely the biggest disappointment, because they were just in the Western Conference Finals, 2 seasons ago. Shout out to Evan Mobley.
Yeah, Cavs resigned. We'll get to that
You know
East.
what I mean?
When
But
I get
yeah, it definitely got to be the Lakers because they didn't improve at all. Like, I mean, they didn't improve. You know, they could have got Clay if they, shipped off D'Angelo Russell, but I don't know if I feel like I heard the Warriors decline that joint, so that's more the Warriors being stupid than the Lakers. I mean, so yeah, the most disappointing team is the Warriors. Fuck that. Like the Lakers, we can
Yes.
talk about the Lakers because they the Lakers, but it's the Warriors. You lose Klay Thompson. You had a chance to trade Chris Paul, you know what I mean, and Andrew Wiggins for Zach Levine, and you said no. You had a chance to get D'Angelo Russell for Klay Thompson. You said no. So you lose Klay. You sign Kyle Anderson. Okay. You know what I mean? He's not Klay Thompson, but he's serviceable. And I think they signed somebody else. I forgot. You know what I mean? But see, you know what I mean? I don't even know who the other dude is who they signed. And I probably do know him, but I don't know his name at the moment.
D'Anthony
So
Melton and Lindy
oh
Waters.
yeah, the Anthony Melton. Shout out to the Anthony Melton. You know what I mean? But that's not like if I'm Steph Curry, I'm like, yo, bro, like,
That's the 76ers bench, Lation.
you know what I mean?
Jesus.
If I'm Steph Curry, I'm looking at the higher ups at Golden State, like, yo, what the fuck is y'all doing? Like, this is crazy. Like, I lose my. Now we just splash bro. We not even splash brothers no more. It's just splash bro.
And
You replace
Splash Buddy.
splash buddy. You replace him
He ain't get his Splash
with
Bro.
Kyle Anderson and DeAnthony Melton. Like, you see where the Warriors at in this picture, where it say 10. That's exactly where they're going to be next year.
Well,
In that exact,
I see a Memphis team that
in that
just got
exact
here.
same spot. They're going to be in that exact same spot next year. Oh yeah, Buddy Hill also. So
Yeah.
I forgot.
It's Splash Buddy.
You know what I mean? So that's still not enough. You know what I mean? They still missing an inside presence. That's the biggest gaping hole in no Diddy on Golden State. You know what I mean? So it's the Warriors for me. They're the most disappointing team. My bad. I start ranting a little bit, but it's definitely the Warriors. I'm sorry.
Oh, you good. Zell, you are up. Your biggest disappointment in free agency from this Western Conference.
As Dr. Umar said, Lakers, Snow Bunny Brandy James won't save you. But it's Golden State. Why? Because right now, Steve Kerr's on fraud watch. It's alert. It's a fraud watch alert. Let's see what you can do. Listen, I like Kyle Anderson. I like Buddy Hill. I like Melton. But you ain't got Clay no more. When Clay was hurt, y'all didn't make the playoffs. And when Clay digressed, y'all went to 10th seed. You ain't won nothing since you won with all Mark Jackson players. We gotta say it. You won with all Mark Jackson players, and when they gone, you seem to can't coach no more. You ain't developed not one player. Matter of fact, Kuminga was a nice surprise. You didn't develop Kuminga. You wouldn't even play him until Draymond Green decided to punch somebody in the face.
Cool.
And then all of a sudden he scored 20. Like, oh, I didn't know he could do that. Well, he could have did it the whole season, but you're on fraud watch, so maybe the fraud eyes can't see a talented player when he does. You know what I'm saying? The fraud eye can't see it. They don't know talent when they see it. You know what I'm saying? You only know the player that Mark Jackson coached, and some reason Mark Jackson can't get a job, even though he coached. He basically led a team to the second round and almost beat the Spurs, and then all of a sudden they give you the job, and all of a sudden Clay developed, Draymond developed, and Steph developed. Like, look how great he is. Listen, you on fraud watch. Just like Doc been on fraud watch forever, but we don't stamp him fraud now. But Steve Kerr, that stamp is coming out. I'm looking at you.
Well, that's it. That's it for the Western Conference for now. I'm gonna come back to it towards the end of the show for another reason.
Splash second cousins.
Let's look at the East. You know,
Splash buddy.
shout out to Boston. Of course, they got the job done as they needed to. But we do have to look at the free agency moves that happened here. Of course, Boston, they just had they re-signed everybody. Got probably the most expensive starting five, maybe in the NFL, but we got that. And then shout out to Brandon, he does agree. He on fraud watching how USA is playing. So we go with that. But
y'all saw it today, right? That's what this conversation came from. How horrible they look today.
The USA was 43.5 point favorite. And they won by 1 point.
You got a fraud as a coach. It's kind of difficult. Bring Coach K back.
But so we got to ask the same questions from the East. We have our rosters. I guess I don't mind starting off this time around, and I'll work my way back up. So the most surprising or the team that made the most impact, I mean, to be fair, it's not really surprising, but I will give a shout out to the 76ers. Like they did what they needed to do in free agency. They got a third star in Paul George. He fits the system. He fits their team beautifully and everything. So he made the biggest impact. They also went re-signed a couple people, got rid of Tobias Harris, thank the Lord. So they got rid of somebody that they should have been got rid
That's
of.
all they had to do, to be honest with you.
So
Get rid of Tobias.
they did essentially what they needed to do. I mean, now their only real question is just injuries. Like, can they actually stay healthy to get to the playoffs and do what they need to do in the playoffs? And can they not choke in the playoffs? But that's not necessarily a free agency question. That's just a player question. But they did what I felt they needed to do. And they made the biggest splash, I think, in the East. Even if it wasn't super surprising, because they were the odds-on favorites to get Paul. But they did what they needed to do. I'll hood you up.
Hometown.
I mean, of course, Sixers, they get Paul George. I mean, that's like I said before, the trio is now, it's George, Maxey, Embiid. That's legit. But I'm going to keep it a buck. The best move for me in the East has been, it was the Knicks. We can't, look what the Knicks did. They essentially made themselves the second, third best team in the conference. So we know Boston is number one. It's not even an argument about that. So it's like, all right, it's between the Knicks and the Sixers. And from what I've seen, the Sixers got the bigger name, obviously, with Paul George. But I feel like the Knicks, you get Mikal Bridges, you keep OG Anunoby. So I like the Knicks. They made some solid moves. So it's the Knicks.
I respect the Knicks pick. I really do. I can stand pat with them, even though they lost their center, which I think might hurt them a little bit in the East, where the East is pretty much full of a lot of big men presence down there. With Giannis, with Embiid, with Porzingis. They do have big men presence, so they might hurt them a little bit. But and shout out to Brandon. Like, not only did they overpay OG, but they really had to overpay him in order to keep him. Shoot, the amount that they put up to trade for Miles Bridges. Miles Bridges going for 5 first-round picks is absurd. Like, it's just we say it is completely absurd for him to go 5 picks. He was just as much as Rudy Gobert going for, and at least Rudy Gobert was the defensive player of the year, and he shouldn't even have gotten that much. Miles Bridges for 5 picks is just unfair.
Oh, you can put the clip. You can put what he said above too. I want.
Oh, I know.
Steve Kerr made.
USA.
He made Joel B look like Knicks Eddie Carey. If you remember Knicks Eddie Carey, he couldn't jump. He just got the ball at the 3-point line, and just sat there.
Hey, we just gonna say, if the USA don't win this gold medal, something's seriously wrong. But Zelmay, you are up with the Eastern Conference. What was your biggest impact, your biggest surprise, your happiness?
The biggest happiness I have is that the Bucks kept Thanasis. They did not trade him. That means Giannis is happy. He is gonna play, as we learned from Jeff Teague when they went to the championship. When Giannis played bad, he was like, "Where my brother at?" He had COVID. And then he came back and they won the championship because Thanasis is the most important player on the Bucks. Hey, that ain't from me. That's from a player on the team. Am I lying on that? Is that not what Jeff Teague said?
That's what I got to say.
That's all
Thanasis is the most important, definitely.
The reason he's the most important player because Giannis cannot forget how to play basketball when he's not around. Like Wonder Twin power.
Silly.
It's the craziest thing I've heard. So I'm like, oh, when he was hurt and couldn't play, that's why Giannis got hurt. He didn't want. His brother wanted to get traded. But if we're being serious, it's gonna be all the Knicks and 76ers, as Holliday said. They 2 and 3 seed basically because Doc Rivers coached the Bucks. But I love what the 76ers did, by the way. Getting Caleb Martin was underrated. I think people sleep on that part. Getting Caleb Martin and then getting Andre Drummond for when Embiid, he gonna get hurt. So we know that's gonna happen. So you still you'll still have Tyrese Maxey. You'll still have Paul George and Embiid go down. You still got Drummond, which is a good rebounding center because they're gonna be kind of small. But then you sign back to KJ Martin. You got my dancing friend out here doing TikToks every day. If he keeps scoring 15, I ain't got nothing to say about him. But if you start scoring 6 out here, dog, we got a problem. End up getting Eric Gordon too. Eric Gordon's a big pickup, and I'm hearing they looking at Mark down here, one of the twins. They're trying to bring him back to get another power forward, which I think we needed. But overall, I think that whole just getting rid of Tobias Harris in general was a big win because he was a waste of roster space, but he took up too much money. So now you get to rebuild a roster around Tyrese Maxey and B. Then you got Paul George. Like I said, then you got I was worried about the bench, but you end up getting Kyle Lowry back. You end up getting Eric Gordon off the bench, probably. You got Kelly Oubre. He might start off the bench. We don't know yet. Like I said, you get one of the twins. He come back, play power forward for you, fire a little bit. Just make sure people know. I think that's a pretty good roster right there, man.
All right.
Now we turn on Thanasis.
Thanasis, hey, like that. Listen, the Bucks know something because they will not let him go.
Yeah, they know if he goes, they got no chance of keeping that superstar. But let's start from the bottom and work our way back up with the other side. So you got to say your biggest disappointment, team-wise in free agency. Zell, we starting from you, from the bottom. Your biggest disappointment in free agency on this East, or who didn't do what they needed to, is on you.
It has to be Atlanta, right?
Yeah, there's a lot you can choose from in this East. It's ugly.
Like everybody else, mostly you got the two teams got better, and everybody else just took a step down. You hope Orlando get better. I'm gonna go Orlando because they tried the 2-point guard system, and I don't even think they're gonna be the 10th seed next year. I think got to be Atlanta.
They got KCP, Paolo still there.
That team ain't good. I'm just saying.
I mean, I think Orlando still. I think they're gonna be just exactly what they was this year.
So Paolo's gonna be real good.
Hollywood, you up? He's that one disappointing.
It's like the West is like stacked, and then you look at the East, you're like, damn, it's like 3 teams legit.
The most disappointing team, for me, it's between Milwaukee, Miami, and Brooklyn. I mean,
they ain't got no money though.
Brooklyn, you basically gave away your best player for nothing.
I mean, I say nothing. They got 5 picks for the bag.
Miami. Like, I want to believe in y'all. I want to, but every year y'all don't do anything. You know what I mean? You just think y'all gonna will out Jimmy Butler, Bam, and Tyler Hero and go to the finals. It's not about to happen.
Yo, spoilers. Hey, we got better. Is Miami the Pittsburgh Steelers of the NFL? Like they just somehow just barely make it in every year, and they got a great coach.
Well, because Pittsburgh don't get past the first round most of the time. At least you can say when Miami get through. Sometimes they didn't got to these finals by miracle.
But they actually got a star. Pittsburgh don't have players. Miami got a star.
New Miami.
Got Jimmy Butler.
And then the Bucks. Like, yeah, you got Dame and you got Giannis, but y'all still got Doc Rivers.
That is a thing. So that might be. I changed my mind. Doc Rivers on the scene.
I mean, y'all still got Doc Rivers. Like, so I mean,
Glenn is out here. When Glenn
it's between them 3 teams.
When Glenn around, it's bad things happen though. Glenn,
and shout out my man Monty Williams. He got fired, but he still got paid. So shout out to Monty.
Let me see. My most disappointment. There's a couple of them on here I got. To me, I think my most surprising one is probably the Bulls. Because I'm just really surprised they ain't broke it up. I just don't understand. You basically let DeMar didn't walk away, but he was your best out of the trio, and you let him go. You wasn't able to trade Levine, which was a shocker to me. I mean, I know Levine's had some injury concern, but we done seen worse players get traded at this rate. And Levine, you couldn't find a home for him is a bit disappointing. Vucevic's still sitting down there like who knows what. And I'm just like, you still really ain't had a chance to blow it up and get like stuff that you're gonna need. So now you finna be in the midst of 9 and 14. Like cause we ain't gonna talk about the Pistons. Like you're gonna be somewhere between 9 and 14. Cause it's like you let your best and most capable player walk out. You wasn't able to trade the other one who's had injury concerns. my prayers is up to Lonzo Ball. Who knows if he gonna play again? And it's just like, bro, and my bad. And you let Caruso walk. Like Caruso, he gone, and you got Giddy down there, so you got a little bit of youth. But it's like, bro, you trade the best defensive player for 10 to 15 a game? Like, no, bro. Like, what do we like? I just don't get it. If you were gonna do that move, you blow it up. But they didn't blow it up. They just made one move and let their best player walk. So now they're gonna be a little lower. I just don't get.
And they got Josh Diddy. I mean,
I don't get the direction they're going in. I just don't. I don't get what they're doing. Like, I don't get the direction. I just generally don't get their direction. I don't understand where they're going. I just like me. They here and now. They gonna be somewhere between, to me, 10 and that. I mean, with the Hawks, I don't expect much out of them either. At least they got rid of one of the two people that wasn't fit. I really thought they were gonna let go of Trey, but they kept him and let go of Johnson, which was a bit shocking. So it what it is for that. That's my big disappointment. I mean, the Cavs, I really thought Garland or Mitchell was going. They kept both. So now I'm really like, what are y'all gonna do? What are you gonna do? Because they don't get along, but now you re-signed Mitchell and Garland ain't going anywhere. So now it's like you kept both players when both of them really got issues with each other. So they confused me, dude. Then, like I said, they re-signed Evan Mobley. So now it's just like we're like, hey, we're gonna force them to get it right. That's essentially what they saying. I don't know what to say about them. Milwaukee, I'm not gonna blame them for being like, hey, Giannis is hurt, we're gonna run it back with him. I'm not gonna be mad at that. Now, if their defense is still just as bad, they end up in about the 3-4 seed again, and they just get bounced out. Then I'm like, look, it might be time to make wholesale changes, fire Doc Rivers, and be done with it. So we'll see what they do. Them some of my biggest ones. I mean, a lot of East teams decided they're just gonna run it back more or less. I'm not gonna be mad at that.
I think they just gave up. They're like, hey, listen, them 3 teams got it.
Well, no, I say the Cavs, they just said like, hey, we running it back. We think what we got is good. So the Cavs then kept pat. Sixers got better. Knicks made a jump, and so they got 3 teams. I'm not gonna count out the Bucks because of Giannis. So they got 4 teams, and then you got the rest. So we're just gonna see what the rest is gonna do at this point. But for this next segment, I'm gonna bring up a team. Y'all are gonna tell me that team's ceiling and that team's like bottom, their base. Real simple. They ceiling, that includes playoffs, their ceiling and their base. First team on the maps, of course, for Hollywood Sensei, you're going to tell me how far you think the Mavericks are going this year. And the base, they're going to, not even the bare minimum, like the rock bottom that they could reach. So, ceiling, rock bottom, for the Mavs. What you got for me?
The ceiling is the finals, obviously. And the floor to me would be first round of the playoffs. That's the floor.
I agree with that 100%.
So ceiling is the finals. Floor is the first round of the playoffs.
Now, Mr. Hicks, is that the ceiling for the Mavs? Is the Western Conference or the floor for the Mavs? That's all I gotta ask for that one. Is that their ceiling or their floor? I just gotta know because if you and Shad, like if you say the Mavericks, their floor is the first round of the playoffs, that just means bare minimum they have to make the playoffs. And
if they don't make the playoffs this year, what are we talking about?
You got Steve Kerr out here coaching.
Well, like I said, like I do think that them not making the playoffs at this rate would be like a little bit wild. Shout out to he said he's gonna agree with you. Like I do think them not making the playoffs would be wild. Like of course the first year where they first got their trade with Kyrie and they were able to turn around afterwards is a great thing because they didn't make the playoffs at that time.
Will Luka lose weight?
Brandon's like, Luka got to learn how to play a little bit of defense. Let me be real. I don't think Luka's really gonna be like an elite defender, but he just has to show some more effort.
I just don't need to be fat no more. So
the ceiling for them, I think I'd be lying if I said the ceiling wasn't the finals again. I think that would be their ceiling. Best thing saying if Klay Thompson dials it back a little bit, starts shooting lights out, that he becomes like a wonderful good scorer, get a little bit of good defense from him. Kyrie dials it back, finds himself again, and Luka goes on a tear. They could do damage. They could definitely do damage, running up and down it. So that's just one. So I'm not gonna knock them for that. I think that would be a good one. Their floor, I think their floor definitely. I'm gonna be real. I think their floor needs to be second round. Like that, I think anything less than second round for the Mavericks, considering the West, and
on the matchup.
First round would be fair. First round is fair because the West is deep. And like with returning teams like the Grizzlies and other ones, I think the floor as a first round is good. So they need to make the playoffs if nothing else. We'll start with Zell for this next one. Shout out to your favorite team. We have those frisky Bucks. So I need you to tell me their ceiling and their floor of this
Their,
team.
their floor is first round exit. Their ceiling is a first round exit. Shout out to Rivers. He ain't getting out the first round. They losing to the Knicks. They losing to the 76ers. They losing to the Celtics. And they losing. I got them losing to Indiana again. Shout out to the Nashville. The Nashville's the only hope. I was gonna say second, but then I don't believe in that much.
The Nashville. Shout out the Nashville.
Shout out to the Nashville.
Man, he's single-handedly keeping the Bucks.
What you got for me, please?
The Bucks, their ceiling should be a championship because it's Giannis and Damian Lillard. You got two of the. Well, Giannis is a top 5 player. Dame, I want to say, is a top 12 to 15 player right now. So you got 2 top 20 players on your team, top 15 players on your team. So you should, theoretically say that the championship is the ceiling. But I want to say their ceiling is the conference finals only because their coach is holding them back. It's Doc Rivers. We just know Doc's track record. I hope the Bucks don't go up 3-1 at no point in any series. Just don't go up 3-1. That's all.
If they go 3-1, I know they losing. Guaranteed.
Yeah, if they go up 3-1,
bet on it. I'll put $1,000 on it.
You just know. Start betting on the other team every game because they. So the ceiling is a conference finals. The floor would be, first round of the playoffs, second round.
So which is the second round team could they beat though? Can they beat the Knicks, Philadelphia?
It's just you gotta hope. You gotta hope whatever series they in, they don't go up 3-1. That's all. They go up 3-1, it's a wrap.
Yo, Milwaukee, the first team I ever seen have a coach that literally had them as a first tie for the first seed, and the coach was going to the All-Star game, fire him, and then have a losing record after they get the new coach. And their new coach is a Hall of Famer, by the way. I don't know how, but
unfortunately,
that's why
the East is just not good enough for me. You know what? Screw it. I say it. The ceiling for them, I really think, is the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't think they get no higher than that because first off, I don't got them above Boston at all in any way. The Knicks and the Sixers, I'd put above them. The Knicks maybe a little bit less because to me, you have to show it was more than just a one-hit wonder on making it all the way to the second round, and it is just second round. So I'm not going to go too crazy on the Knicks, even with Miles Bridges. So, but the 76ers, I think clearly they would win if everybody's all healthy and everything. And the Bucks' defensive woes, didn't really get fixed. Losing Giroux and just their team getting older. So I'm not really gonna knock that, but I think the Eastern Conference Finals would be a good ceiling for them if everything went right. I just think they would run into Boston and just get put away, or they would run into like the Sixers on a good day, get done up, something like that. Even the Knicks if they ran them away, up and down the floor. So I'm not buying them getting back to the finals, at least not on this current iteration of the team, unless Giannis and Dame free on a fire season, double MVP votes, and they both pull a LeBron and Kyrie Irving pulling 40-point games together or something like that. I'm just not bad. So that'll be one. Their base is what I'm saying. I think their base is just they don't make the playoffs at all. And I was trying to see if the East is strong enough for them not to make it. Could I buy them not making the playoffs at all? Yes, I could actually buy it. It's shocking, but Giannis, as of recent, the last 2-3 years has had a few injury concerns that start to worry me a little bit. Then Middleton is getting older. He also has injury concerns. Dame is getting older. Just past playoffs has shown us he also has injury concerns. And so the team getting older, not really getting any younger, having defensive problems, could I buy that they would make a 7 seed? Matter of fact, just like the 76ers of this year. Do I think how healthy they will not make the playoffs? Of course not. Do I think somebody got hurt and they fell into a bad run for about 2 months and end up in the play-in, and then next thing you know, they find themselves on the outside looking in? I could definitely buy it. It'd be wild, But I think that would be their floor. Their floor was just not making the playoffs. And if they just didn't make the playoffs yet, and Brandon, you got a good one for me. You said if the Bucks don't make the playoffs, who get left? Oh, Doc gone. I can tell you right now, if they don't make the playoffs, Doc is out of there. You ain't even got to think twice. Doc is on the hot seat now. Why? Because you took the job from somebody that had the team, 15 games above 500, and you didn't make them better. So he's already on the hot seat. Then you didn't get past, the first round because unfortunately you decided to run up and you and Dame couldn't get over the Pacers. So now you already looked at up sideways that were you really a better chance than the other player coach. And then if you didn't make the playoffs this year, he'd be out of there. He'd be gone. And then the
Once
Bucks.
I share my screen,
What we do? Oh, hold up. What you got to show us there? Because I can tell you right now, if they don't make the playoffs, Doc ain't even making the plane trip back. He ain't making the plane trip.
the greatest.
Now we turn on Doc Rivers.
Well, you got to do this.
Listen. If you ever watch me, I've been turning on Doc Rivers. I've been turning on Doc Rivers since 2004 when he screwed over Gray and Tracy McGrady. You do not Doc Rivers. Listen, look at this. Look at this. The perfect brother. The Thanasis is the best player on the Bucks. Giannis averaged 11 points when Thanasis is not on the bench. Look it up. It's crazy.
It's not going to be bothered with you with this foolishness, man. I'm not going to do this.
We need Thanasis.
We're not doing it. I'm not fooling with him. He just gets silly right there.
The greatest brother of all time, dog.
Everybody but himself. He also got the gift of getting fired from multiple good teams. So he also got the gift of blowing more 3-1 and 3-2 leads than anybody else in NBA history. Please believe if Doc did not make the playoffs this year with Dame and Giannis on your squad, I promise you, Doc would not make that plane trip back. I'm telling you, because he already had the hot seat from not getting to the playoffs this year with Dame. He would not make it. He's getting him out of there because he's gonna be like, look, Dame already gonna be pissed. He gonna be in there 2 years and not gonna work. But then there gonna be 2 playoff runs. He ain't went no further than he would have went with the Trailblazers. So that's already one. It's not like he really wanted to go to the Bucks anyway. So that's one problem. 2, you got Giannis already showing some irritation of not getting deep playoff runs and help, and then you give him a coach that done got him lost twice. Oh no, sir. No, sir. He out of there. That boy, he can blame everybody he wants. He'll be the next coach of the Pistons. He keep going right there. I tell you right now. That way he can lose and nobody will look twice. But
Doc got fired 3 times and was only unemployed for 1 day.
Hollywood.
That's crazy.
Tell me about these Knicks.
The Knicks, their ceiling is the Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, I feel like, everybody in the East ceiling is, other than the Boston Celtics, but their ceiling is obviously the NBA Finals. But every team under them, like the Sixers, Knicks, Bucks, Cavs, their ceiling is the Eastern Conference Finals. The Pacers too. So Eastern Conference Finals for the Knicks, and then the floor. First round, got to be the first round. I don't see this team being like a play-in tournament type team. That would be a hell of a fall if they became a play-in team. But first round of the playoffs, because it depends on seeding, because, they're in the same division as the Celtics and the Sixers. So there's a chance, one of them teams is going to be the 4th or 5th seed, because Boston more than likely is probably going to get that number 1 seed, and then so it depends on their seeding, because I can see if they are like the 4th seed in the playoffs and they got to run up against like Indiana in the first round or maybe Milwaukee, they might lose that joint, or if they got to play the Sixers again, they might. So first round, that's their floor. First round of the playoffs.
When B took them to 6 game with one eye flicking and one knee, that was crazy.
Zell, what you think?
I think their ceiling's the Eastern Conference Finals. I think their floor would be the first round. I agree with how they could, like, if they mess up, somebody get injured, they end up being a 6 seed because of one injury, because I don't think they deep enough. Specifically, if Brunson get like a knee problem again or something, I think they can end up being like a 6 seed or 5 seed, and they don't want that. But if they healthy, I can see them going to the Eastern Conference Final. But like I said, they ain't got like depth, and they didn't really make up for it. But they still gonna be good enough. But adding Mikal Bridges is an amazing pickup. He's a great player. If Julius Randle healthy with him, like I said, they can still win a lot of games, even with Jalen Brunson hurt. But you gotta remember, we said Mikal Bridges by himself coming. Jalen Brunson led that team by himself. He was scoring averaging 40 against Indiana to, to even get them close. And I'm like, that's a big gap to overcome. Even if you do add Miguel Bridges to take off a lot of pressure, and Julius Randle, if he come back, it kind of slows the team down too. But it's a pickup because it's better, but it ain't really a great pick because you know he's going left every time, especially in the playoffs when you can focus on that. Regular season, he'll do amazing though.
I'm really struggling, as a Boston fan, I'm really struggling trying to be impartial and fair. I would say their ceiling, ugh, if everything was to go right and they just got like a little bit of luck on their side, I wouldn't be surprised if they actually made the finals. I'm gonna be fair. Like as a Boston fan, do I think they'd beat Boston in a 7-game series fully healthy? Everybody, no, I don't think that. But looking at it as the unicorn to my Porzingis, the Porzingis isn't supposed to be available at the beginning of the season necessarily. He could be out anywhere from just the beginning in October all the way to December. So that might have a little bit of issue on Boston. So the Knicks, if they were to carry that momentum, end up with a number 1 seed, maybe then there'll be everything going right for them, and everybody's able to stay healthy. So it might take a little bit of luck on that end, and like a little bit in the playoffs. Because we clearly see injuries do play a part for them to make the final. But do I think they could make a finals? Yeah, if everything was to bounce right, I wouldn't be super shocked to see the Knicks make a finals. Like I said, Brunson showed that he's actually a superstar level player. It's not just a crazy run through the playoffs for 1 year. Everybody else, Mikal Bridges gives him wonderful help. Julius Randle, doesn't mess up nothing, anything of that nature. OG gives him wonderful defense, and the missing center doesn't hurt them as much. I wouldn't be as surprised. Do I think they'll get to the finals? No, but their ceiling, I think a ceiling would be a finals. Maybe. I think that would be their ceiling. They have to play amazing here.
You know how annoying them New York fans would be, though.
No, I mean, it'd be annoying, but Thibodeau just can't run his players into the ground, and that's the thing about it. Them not having a lot of depth do hurt, but just their ceiling is that year. Their bottom, their bottom to me is definitely like the first round of the playoffs. There's no way you can have this kind of team, the Villanova boys, all together, and the East being the way that it is, and you just not make it. I'm sorry, you can't go this much all in on young players and don't make the playoffs at all. Like if they made it to the play-in, I would consider that season a problem because like there's no excuse for you getting that low in like a bottom 7 seed and you're the Knicks with this much money put into this team. Like we shout out to like what we just said, they just overpay over. OG had to know we just made $200 million. There's no way you can just pay these players that much. Brunson took a pay cut. Like you're not gonna see them be like you got this money in these 5 players and you don't at least make the first round. Oh.
So I got Ben Simmons though. Ben Simmons make $235 million to not play.
Well, that's right.
We all dream of being Ben Simmons.
Simmons pulled on the team, but
he's playing NCAA 25 right now.
Since y'all had enough about the East, let's talk about some Western teams. So I'm gonna throw a couple of monkey wrenches up in here. Zell, man, you get the honor and the prestige to tell me how far you think the Lakers are gonna go. Far and their base. You get the honor to tell me.
Depending on who they match up with, second round, they're ceiling, and play in they slow. I can see them be above. If they match up with the right team and Anthony Davis gets the right matchup with LeBron, and Nick actually hit threes, they can upset certain teams, I think, in the Eastern Conference. But like I said, they gonna have I was thinking could they be kicked out, but I was like Sacramento gonna be a threat now. They got DeMar DeRozan. People forget they would have OKC was a surprise team last year coming up to be a top seed. 2 years ago, it was Sacramento being a 2 seed. That was shocked everybody. And I don't think they too far with DeMar DeRozan, a veteran. But I can see, like I said, second round. I think it's gonna be tough to beat Denver and Minnesota for the Lakers because they match up well. But if they run up on another team, they can outsize them, bully them a little bit. If Connect hit threes too, though, they need him and Reeves to hit threes, knock down 3 points.
Hollywood, what you thinking?
The ceiling for the Lakers is Bronny, and the floor for the Lakers is Bronny.
Oh no.
I mean, they are going to go as far as Bronny takes them. I mean, so you know, get Bronny his minutes. He needs at least 20, 23 a game.
Oh my
You know
god.
what I mean? But no, to be in all honesty, I don't like this roster. I didn't like it last year. I don't like it now. Like, I mean, they still don't have a solidified third option. You know what I mean? It's just it's not there. And the biggest thing that they had when they won the championship that year was inside. They had interior defense. Like you had JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard, like down low, along with Anthony Davis. You don't got that no more. And they had better shooters. You had KCP, Kuzma and all that stuff. You had the shooters. This roster just not doing it for me. So the floor, that ceiling. I mean, and then they got JJ Redick, new coach. Like they're still in the second round of the playoffs. Like I know they got to the Western Conference Finals with Darvin Ham. So but every other team in the Western Conference got better than them. All the playoff caliber teams, they improved their roster, except for the Lakers and Golden State.
But nobody, Bronny James.
Snow Bunny, Bronny James is not going to save the Lakers. So their ceiling is the second round. Their floor is the play-in.
All right. I see
No,
now.
Bronny James won't save you, LeBron.
I see now. Probably gonna have the biggest stretch when it comes to this team and they ceiling for. I'm gonna be real with you. I think they ceiling the Western Conference Finals just straight up. Only because the main team I always had in my head that would make sure they would never get anywhere past that was the Nuggets. And because I genuinely think the Nuggets might take a little bit of a step back because they didn't really fix their bench issues to me. Losing KCP is going to lose them a little bit up front unless, some of their younger players step up massively. Other than that and Michael Porter Jr., unless he makes a big step and becomes a third scorer, I I just don't know how the Nuggets don't really take a little bit of a step back. And so the Nuggets taking a little bit of step back doesn't necessarily mean to me that the Lakers are going to beat them, but it just makes them more beatable. And so, like, that means they may not make 57 and 25 this coming year. They may make 50 and 32, something like that. I wouldn't make surprised like a little bit of a step back. The other Western teams, though the West is deep, not a lot of those teams really scare me to make it where oh, okay, LeBron and AD can't just sneak through them. Like OKC, they made beautiful steps, beautiful strides or whatever. Are they still a young team that has to prove they can get past second round? Yes. This team still essentially has the biggest amount of experience in the playoffs. Their team really didn't change. And the main team that stopped them is going to take a little bit of a step back. So do I believe they can sneak through a Western Conference Finals? Sure. LeBron still beats Father Time. AD don't get hurt, and just, screw around and, might win. I could buy that. Do I think they get past that? No, because I just genuinely think the youth of the rest of the West is going to get the better of them. I don't think LeBron is just going to be able to throw up 40-point games and AD be super consistent and then they still be able to get something from the rest of the team. No. We've seen 2 years in a row, D'Angelo Russell not gonna be able to give you what you want, most likely. Austin Reeves took a step back. I don't think that's gonna come back. And then the coach is a joke. We're not gonna sit and act like it. You went from Darvin Ham, who at least had a little bit of background coaching experience, to somebody that ain't touched a clipboard. It's just gonna be honest with you. JJ Redick becoming their new coach makes absolutely no sense. So you have a brand new coach, and we already know LeBron and how he does coaches. LeBron dang that coaches himself. This is his podcast buddy and friend. So you basically made the coaching job look like a complete joke. You didn't really do any other free agency moves. So the team didn't get better. They just got older. And it's just what was the point? So to me, they could get to the Western Conference, being sly, right matchup. Whoever got to the Western Conference at that point, I would put above the Lakers straight up. So, that's me. Their floor, I think their floor is just not getting to the playoffs at all. I'm sorry, the West is loaded. Can we? The West is just straight up loaded. We ain't gonna lie. We have not this. I'm sorry. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 teams that made it above them before. Knock off the Clippers. So all those other same teams, I would still say they would probably get above the Lakers, maybe. Us and maybe the Suns. But even the Suns, they put something together in the regular season. So it's like, I got 7 teams above them flat out. I got the Kings possibly coming back with DeMar DeRozan. I got the Grizzlies coming back with Ja Morant, and then the Warriors, if they can manage to get Laurie Marketing to put something together. So I'm just like, I have 10 teams that could legitimately make a claim to make the playoffs. And if the Lakers just run amok in some problem, whether it was, an injury to LeBron, injury to AD, horrible chemistry, head coaching, snafus or something going wrong, next thing you know, they could be looking at 40 and 42 and be on the outside looking in like what just happened to our season. It happened before. It happened when they got Westbrook 2 years ago. They was on the outside looking in like, bro, what happened to our season? So I'm like, to me, that could happen again. Like it could, and then next thing you know, we'll be looking like, okay, wholesale changes for LeBron's last year, or start Bronny on game 60. The season's a wash anyway. Oh, please believe those start Bronny chance. Oh, they're gonna start real quick if the team starts botching up. They're gonna start real quick. So it'd be like the NFL all over again. But my bad, Hollywood. I do got like no one. So speaking of Memphis, we have the returning team coming out of nowhere. What is their ceiling in their floor, Hollywood?
The Memphis Grizzlies,
Mm-hmm.
their ceiling, man, they lost. I mean, they lost Dylan Brooks. I mean, that's why they were so bad last year. Like everybody think, oh, Ja was hurt. Nah, they didn't have Dylan Brooks. You know what I mean? They thought Marcus Smart was going, nah, dog. I mean, you needed Dylan the villain. You know what I mean? Now, I like them getting Zach Edey. That was like super underrated draft pick right there. You know what I mean? But they're still in second round. I mean, I'll get them the second round of the playoffs. I don't think this is that like that Memphis team that we seen, when they had pushed the Warriors or whatever. You know what I mean? That team is gone. So that team is gone. That team is out of here. So they are on a a little revamping. So I think the ceiling is the second round. Their floor is the play-in. I do feel like they will be a much better team this year because I'm pretty sure Ja will be there most of the season, barring injury. But because you're getting Ja Morant back, who is your best player by far, that should get them towards the playoffs. So floor, play-in, ceiling, second round.
I can respect it. I can respect it. Zell, what you thinking?
Their ceiling and their floor is Ja Morant. Whatever Ja Morant does, that's their ceiling and their floor. Listen, when Ja Morant went there, you saw what seed they were. They was almost last. And when he played at 27-55, and by the way, out of that 27 games, Ja played, they went on an 11-game winning streak. That tell you how important Ja is. That team with 27 wins went on an 11-game winning streak when Ja Morant came back healthy for part of the season. So realistically, their ceiling is the second round. Their floor is not making the playoffs, but it's up to Ja or whatever Ja do. As long as he ain't Ja Witt getting suspended for 30 games or getting hurt, I think they'll be good. Ja Witt.
I'm gonna say they ceiling. Let's go crazy. I'll say they ceiling to be the Western Conference Finals. Like I'm not gonna. I would say Memphis. Just a little flash we saw last year showed that with Ja here they can still make beautiful runs. They can still go crazy in the West. They haven't really lost their other major pieces. Yeah, they lost Dylan Brooks. Oh well, but they didn't lose Jaren Jackson Jr. They didn't lose Desmond Bain. They showed they can still score. They just need their superstar level talent to push them over. We just saw the Mavericks. Who I'm pretty sure nobody really picked the Mavericks to make the finals this past year upcoming, and it's a beautiful run. Teams didn't do what they need to do, some upsets, and next thing you know, they made the finals. So to me, saying the Grizzlies could make a Western Conference run just out of nowhere, possibly Josh showing he back in a superstar level, I wouldn't be surprised. I really would. Now the floor, I'm gonna say the floor is the play in. I think so long as like Zelman said, Ja ain't in no stupid, he ain't got no trouble, and he don't go missing. I think you can make a play in this team regardless. Even though the West is loaded, I think you can make a play in just off the roster that they have. If even if no like some snafus or something, as long as you keep Ja there, I think you can pull out 40 games bare minimum. The other team can get you a couple of them. You can make a play in. So I just think you can pull that together, especially with the fall of like the Clippers that's going to happen, like stuff like that. I think you can get there. And finally, Zell. Speaking of the Thunder, tell me what the Thunder gonna do.
By the way, I want to shout out to Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark for beating the Olympic team tonight. Like, listen, I don't know if them Ricky said, "Hey, listen, y'all ain't put us on team. Don't worry, we got y'all." But OKC Thunder, I think I could think they can. I'm gonna say it. I think they can go to the finals, or beyond the first. Or I even say this. I think they have the most wide range of anybody. I think they can go to the finals or go to the play or be in the play-in. I think it's that rangy because we don't, like I said, Sacramento and Memphis might be bad. We don't know what the Lakers gonna be. We assume they're gonna be bad, but OKC was so young. Was it a flash in the pan season? Were they just caught, or is it that defense as fast as it was? People forget they gave the Mavericks the hardest time in the Western Conference because that speed they got on defense. But is that just gonna be a one-time thing, or is it gonna be? So I think their range is the deepest anybody. I can see them in the finals, and I can see them in the play-in.
Hallelujah.
Ceiling, conference finals. Their floor, because the West is just a gauntlet. Their floor could possibly be the first round or the play-in. You know what I mean? Because nobody, let's keep it a buck. Nobody up here and nobody watching this show. You know what I mean? When the NBA season started, y'all was like, yeah, OKC gonna be the number one seed. Like nobody, you know what I mean? They came out of nowhere last year. So when teams do that, sometimes there is a bit of regression. You know what I mean?
Sacramento,
So because yeah, like Sacramento, you see, like because people get hurt. You know what I mean? Shit like that. But I do like that they added Caruso. I mean, to the mix. But their ceiling is the conference finals. Their floor is the first round.
I'm gonna go a little bit more. I do agree that their floor should be first round. I think just the moves they made, the jump that SGA showed that he can lead a team at least to the playoffs and pass the first round. So because you was able to do that with your team before you got a couple extra roster moves, I think the first round should be your ceiling, your floor. Period. They get anywhere under the first round, something's gone horribly wrong on the team, on the play, everything. Their ceiling, I would say their ceiling is the finals. I'm not buying necessarily that the OKC should be the odds-on favorite to reach the finals out the West. Not necessarily buying it, considering how young they are. SGA is a monster. I get that, but to me, the one thing I felt they really needed was a second score, like a second guaranteed score. That's the one thing they did not get to me out of the entirety of the free agency. Like they got Isaiah Hartenstein, which is a wonderful pickup. That way, Chet doesn't necessarily have to sit down there at the center spot. He got somewhere to bang down over with him that's not really needing the ball. And so he can push up to that 4 spot. Really good. I love that addition for them. They picked up Caruso, wonderful help on the wing. But neither one of those moves really helped their scoring. And that was a problem that they ran into when they played the Mavericks sometimes, is that the Mavericks would have horrible shooting nights and scoring games, but they couldn't generate offense if it wasn't SGA. Like if SGA didn't go off for like 30 sometimes, you would wonder like where did the offense come from? Jalen Williams, no, he's good. But like it seemed like he wasn't able to really just become that secondary scorer for them. Chet, this was his first year really back playing a full year. And so it seemed like it was a little too much to ask for him too. So it's like, is a year's experience really enough for one of those two to step into that secondary score role that they're gonna need? Because it ain't coming from the bench. We saw what Gordon Hayward didn't work out for anything, so it ain't coming from their bench. So like
I do think Chet going. That's why I picked them to probably. I said they could go to finals. I think Chet. It depends on, like I said, depend on how the young Jalen and Chet how they improve over the year. Like we saw how certain players improve over there, And by the way, I do want to shout out this. I got a question for y'all. So on this, does it seem like the WNBA new players and the ones coming up, do they not seem like way bigger? And this is there's Flau'jae, who got a son with Lil Wayne, and she plays at LSU next year, and Paige Buckner, who got like 20 million TikTok followers.
I mean, it depends. Like, if you ride the wave of Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark right now, yeah, you can be something. But like, to me, it's mainly because of those two and like the waves that they put in social media wise. Why the WNBA can be big, why those can follow up. But if they don't do something after that, like after those who get more and more settled, unless like they keep aspiring to superstardom for something like that, if they don't keep on, I mean, the fandom and the wave is going to die down with them. We'll just see.
Because Paige is huge right now. And Flau'jae, like I said, she got a son with Lil Wayne. That is crazy. You know how many of us wish we could have a son with Lil Wayne?
Well, when you have a child with a famous person, your name is going to be known somewhere to some extent. Not necessarily famous, but it's going to be known to some extent. Like, if you're, like, let's just say, perfect example, when Drake found out Drake had a baby mama out of nowhere, everybody was looking up that baby mama name, and then afterwards, it sort of died down. So it just depends. You get your 15 minutes of fame when you get known, and after that, if you don't do nothing else, it needs to be. But that's my thing. How do you have anything on the WNBA before I continue?
WNBA or the NBA?
Well, he was saying about the WNBA. Did you want to give a spiel on that, or we can continue?
Oh well, I mean, all these new proper players is definitely going to be way more bigger and popular than the players in the league now, because social media and it's basically social media. Like, I guarantee you, if
Juju Watkins,
if Asia Wilson wasn't in the league now and she was coming into the league, I mean, the stardom would be way bigger, even though we already know she is a star. I mean, but because of like I said, social media, the media coverage now, like, we knew it was going to happen. Like, that these new players, and plus all these new players, you go on their Instagram pages, their TikToks, their Twitters, they got millions of followers. Like, I mean, Angel Reese got like 3 million followers on Instagram. I mean, Caitlin Clark got like a million followers on Instagram. Cameron Brink got like 2 million followers on Instagram. So, like, I mean, they popular as hell. Paige Beckers, Flau'jae, Juju, like, yeah. The media and social media, it's only going to get bigger. And they just signed this new deal too. These new proper players, they only going to get more and more popular just because.
Yeah, they were getting 20 million. Now they got a 2 billion. Listen. Yeah, y'all gotta thank Caitlin Clark. she is. Yeah, she is. But y'all gotta thank Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese.
I did. Them niggas ain't answer. So I'm gonna just go to work like I'm supposed to.
But to finish it off, I got one more ask question.
They pull up. They don't. But either way, I'm gonna be at work.
We got a couple of them for. But either way, so real simple question. I'm gonna start with you, Zelmay. Let Hollywood finish his business. Zelmay, for 2024's 2025 season, tell me the playoff order.
The order?
Yep. 1 to 10.
Boston, New York, Philly, Cleveland, Milwaukee, Orlando, Indiana, and it's the final 8 seed who I'm gonna say get in even in the play-in. I'm gonna say Miami again.
So I think out of that you had Milwaukee and you had the Sixers at 3. You had Milwaukee down to 5, and then I think you had the Magic down to 6, Pacers at 7, and then the 8 still the notorious Heat team.
Yeah, suppose like Mike Tomlin, he gonna get in the 8 seed somehow. Just get in, just barely make it in every year, no matter what.
Oh, Hollywood, tell me your Eastern Conference standings for 2024-2025.
Uh, I mean, Bucks. I mean, Celtics won. Sixers two. Knicks. Yeah, I'll take Knicks three. Bucks fourth. Pacers fifth. I'm gonna go Miami and six. Cleveland seven. Orlando eight. And then your playing teams will be the Hornets and the Hawks.
I like the Hornets winning the Hawks. Yeah. Think for me, yeah, Boston to be one. I wouldn't be surprised. So, and so because I put so much stock in the Knicks, I think the Knicks will reach two. Because Milwaukee, do I have faith in Milwaukee? Oh boy, yeah, Knicks at two. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say, ugh. I'm gonna say the Bucks at three. I'm gonna say the first three are gonna stay the same. Fourth, I think, will be the Sixers because I just do not trust everybody to be healthy for the entirety of the season. I just don't. Paul Hill included. So I'm gonna say Sixers, they don't fall as much. I'm gonna say them at four. Then after that, I'm gonna say Cleveland will be a sharp five. Pacers at six. No, I scratched it. Yeah, yeah. Pacers at six. Magic seven. And then their darn Heat team is gonna stick around at eight. I think they're gonna try.
Don't you Mike Tomlin? The Steelers, they just somehow win. He never had a losing season, no matter how bad it.
I'm gonna say that this notorious 8 seed team, they're gonna stick there. 9 will probably be the Hawks. 10 doesn't really matter, but 10, I think the Hornets get some kind of. I think they'll go with that. Now that was the easy one. Tell me the playoffs for this West is the one you will have to give me. Zell, you up first.
I'm gonna go interesting. I think it's gonna be Minnesota 1. I think they're gonna go for the 1 seed the hardest. I think OKC gonna be a 3. I think Denver stays at 2. I think the Mavs end up at 4. I think some Clippers gonna somehow make it to 5 because every year somehow we gotta have a Mavs versus Clippers every year.
Can't hear you there as much.
Somehow every year Luke always like the coach. So I'm like, I don't understand it, but they're gonna have to play in the first round. And then let's go Pelicans 6, Sacramento 7, Lakers 8, Phoenix 9. And I don't care who the 10th seed is. It's just San Antonio just for fun.
I looked you up. The ugliness of the West.
All right, number one, first seed, Denver. I mean, I just still feel like they're the best team in the conference. I mean, number one, Denver. 2, Mavericks. 3, Minnesota. 4, I'll go OKC. 5, Phoenix. 6, I'm gonna say Sacramento. I think, and DeMar DeRozan is going to put them in the playoffs. So 6, DeMar DeRozan. 6, the Kings. 7, I like New Orleans. They can stay at 7. And then that 8th seed, it's going to be one of them LA teams. Either the Clippers or the Lakers. I'm going to take the Lakers. And then the play-in teams will be the Clippers and probably Golden State. So, yeah.
Now, of course, all of this, as we're saying, is without lower marketing on the Golden State team. But for me, I'm gonna agree with Zell on number 1. I think Minnesota gonna take number 1.
I think they're motivated. I think you got to be motivated. That's why I don't pick Dallas. I think Dallas do it. I feel like Luka don't be caring about regular season.
I'm gonna say them I'm gonna say Minnesota number 1. I mean, Rudy Gobert always cleans up in the regular season anyway. So I'm gonna say them for number 1. 2, It's gonna be ugly. I'm telling you that. I'm gonna say them for number one. Two, I'm gonna go on a limb. And I will. I really don't know. One, yeah, one. I'm gonna stick with my Minnesota. Two, I will go as far as say I'm gonna say the Pelicans. It's gonna be a little wild. I'm gonna say the Pelicans only because they were really good in the top three seeds before Zion got hurt. I don't think that happens again. I think the
But
Jonathan Murray
Dejounte Murray,
helps them a lot. I'm gonna say they sneak out of nowhere. Well, not really out of nowhere, but I mean, an 8-game jump with DeJounte Murray and a healthy Zion, I don't think that's hard to say. I'm gonna say they get to two. And then three, I'm gonna say OKC. I'm gonna say OKC gets the 3 seed. I think they ain't gonna fall too much, if at all. I'm gonna say they get the 3. 4, I think will go to. I'm gonna say. I say the Mavs for 4. I'm gonna say Mavs at 4, which means I'm gonna say the Nuggets at 5. I say the Grizzlies will get to 6. I think they'll get right out the play-in. I think Grizz will be at 6. Then they'll leave Kings at 7, and I think no Lakers at 7, and I think the Kings will make the 8 seed. Even though they still got DeMar DeRozan, they still lacking defense a lot of times. So I think they're gonna still get into the top 8, which will leave the Suns in the play-in, and then Golden State will probably be in the play-in as well. They'll leave those 2 teams in the play-in. It's just gonna be an ugly, ugly West. I got some surprises, but that's what I'm going with.
you know what series I want to see next year in the playoffs? I want to see Dallas versus Sacramento. It's gonna be like cone defense out there. It's gonna be scoring like crazy. You got
That
Clay,
is true.
Luka, and Kyrie playing defense on versus Sacramento. It's
Well,
gonna
my
be
thing-
140 to 140.
A healthy Zion is like a sober Charlie Sheen. It just don't
Well, see, that's
exist.
the thing about it. We say the same thing about Anthony Davis, and lo and behold, he was mostly healthy this past season. I think Zion can do the same.
If
I'm
Zion
gonna give him one.
stays skinny this year, he can make it.
I'm gonna give him one. Like I said, we thought AD was street clothes. He put together a season. He was here, and it wasn't really his fault that they lost. So the street clothes supposedly not saying Anthony, but say the one known in street clothes formally is able to do it. Zion.
If Zion coming fat, he getting hurt. I know he getting hurt if he coming fat.
So I'm gonna say, I think if they get them, I'm gonna say this. Otherwise,
Do we
I
get
think,
skinny Luka, or do we get skinny Zion and skinny Luka, or do we get fat Zion and fat Luka?
I mean, you got a better chance of getting them both skinny. Luka gonna be hungry for a final. Zion gonna be hungry for a playoff. So if you got any
They
chance,
both just hungry how fat they is.
but you want to throw anything else there, or that's it?
Yeah, I got one more thing to show y'all. We got me and Hollywood. This is for Hollywood because we've been talking about this forever. We can end racism. Hollywood, we end racism.
Man, that's all you need is that.
USA basketball versus Team WNBA. Caitlin Clark.
Even though they get
4
blown
points,
out, but yeah,
Team USA getting blown out. That's not easy. But Caitlin Clark 4 points, 9 assists. Angel Reese 10 and 10. Double still going. Even though they quadruple team the other day to make sure she don't get it.
Yeah, shout out to the WNBA All Stars. They picked up the win. You know what I mean? They, I thought Team USA had it, but Enrique started just going crazy from the 3. You know what I mean? She started going crazy out there.
29.7 assists is crazy.
that is bonkers.